back to the previous subject about the 6 sphere spirits that are very happy and
for a period,
and fascinated, and don't feel the necessity to long for God's love. And then you read in the Paget messages, spirits like in the hells that are suffering and desperate and cry out for God's love. I just was wondering, in the desperate state, would that create more of a desire to long?
Well, sometimes it does, yes. Sometimes it does. And that's why oftentimes celestial spirits are here on earth or in the hells trying to help people to learn about God, rather than in the 6th sphere trying to help people learn about God. Because when you get to the 6th sphere, you become very satisfied with your life. You're not unhappy anymore. You're not discontent. You're not in pain and suffering anymore. All of that's gone. Your body's perfect now. So all of the imperfections of your body, the pain of the imperfections is all gone. So naturally, you're quite self-satisfied. And you've done it through your own progress. You've done it through your own decisions. So you're quite proud of yourself because you've done that. And so sometimes when you go to a 6th sphere spirit who's in that condition, it's very, very hard to help them, right? And you can, a lot of times, only help a 6th sphere spirit when they're in a place of discontent after they've had one of these cyclic experiences. In the hells, it's very, very different, because you can go to a person in the hells who's crying out for help and give them help and point them in the right direction because they're crying out for it. And most people in the hells are crying out for help because they're in pain. And the pain often has been caused through their bad choices of the past. But in that process, they're often more open to new ideas that they hadn't otherwise considered. Just like many of you were open to new ideas you hadn't otherwise considered when I presented truths to you first, right? For whatever reasons you were. Now, for many of you, it wasn't because you were satisfied. It was because you were unsatisfied with something. Does that make sense? Yeah. So a person who gets a degree of satisfaction, sometimes it's hard to influence them in a positive direction because they already believe they know what you're talking about and they already believe they experience it. So it's a bit like saying, I start teaching about, say, soulmates in the 6th sphere. All the people who are already in a soulmate relationship think they're already experiencing all that. So they don't think they've got much to learn about that. So why would they attend? But all of the people in the 1st sphere who don't have their mates with them and haven't had any mates with them for maybe sometimes 100 years, and they're so lonely and they're so, it can be a lot easier sometimes to talk to them. Make sense? Yeah.
And so for a 6th sphere spirit or a person in the hells who's desperate, how do you sort of create that longing for God's love or a relationship? Is it the interests that you're talking about?
The person has to create that within themselves. You can't really create a longing in another person. You can sort of inspire them, which I've tried to do with you guys, right? By talking to them about the possibilities and so forth. But you can't actually do it. They've got to do it for themselves. Desire is a personal thing. You can't exercise a desire for another person. They have to do it for themselves. So no matter where they are, whether it's in the hells or in the 6th sphere, the person is going to have a desire for themselves, within themselves.